It's time for Seriously, Let's Play.
Hi, and welcome back to Seriously, Let's Play. This is John, your GM here tonight. We're playing our final chapter of the Genesys game, Android, Shadow of the Beanstalk, correct?
That is the name.
All right, and I'm joined at the table today with Roxy.
I'm Roxanne Thompson. You guys all know my voice. I am playing Lieutenant Rory McKiernan of the New Angeles Police Department, and I am an old friend and partner of, Sam was my partner back on the force, and here we are.
And that takes us, of course, to the player of Sam, Laura.
Yes, I am Laura McMeans, and I am playing a Bioroid based on Samantha Vega. Was activated at the moment of her apparent death. We're not so sure anymore.
Questions about.
And we have Justine.
I'm Justine. I am playing Jaxine Miller, who is Sam's clone runner assistant, and maybe a little bit too focused on cleaning and not enough focused on not messing up their mission.
And we also have Deborah.
Hi, I'm Deborah Parizek, and I'm playing Sahaya Mitchell, and she is the estranged daughter of the apparently deceased Sam Vega, and I guess that's where we're at.
Mm-hmm. All right. So when last we left our intrepid group of heroines, you had uncovered the fact that, yes, perhaps Sam Vega isn't dead. Maybe.
Dun, dun, dun.
The investigator that the Bioroid was based off of. Your investigations have led you to this cartel restaurant. That's the best way I can think to put it.
Oh, it's a mafia front.
Yeah. And in your investigation, got a really impromptu meeting with the head of said mafia, and found out a little bit more about what the character was up to before their disappearance. And one of the things that you found was perhaps either the point where either they were killed or something else happened. So that being a warehouse where several members of Los Scorpiones had been found, along with only the hand of Samantha Vega.
Does Carolina Mendoza come with us to this warehouse?
No.
Okay.
So
I would probably, on the way over, if I felt that we could talk somewhat freely, I would indicate to the group that I mean, not that everybody else doesn't know this, but it's paramount to know whether or not Sam is actually deceased. But I'm concerned that if there is memory modification happening, that Sam might... I have a weird hunch that maybe Sam took off their own hand to activate the Bioroid.
Interesting.
Or I feel like it's a possibility.
Possible, yeah.
Well, and especially since we know that the human trafficking is happening, and part of that is a memory wipe, that maybe Sam was caught up in that.
Yeah. So that's
and
what
activated the
that's a
Bioroid
feeling
to
that
rescue herself.
Yeah.
That's brilliant, Rory. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thanks.
You know, you were my best recruit.
Yeah, thank you.
Sam's best recruit.
Yeah. I know
guess
what you mean.
I wasn't.
And don't forget
there.
to pat yourself on the back for having thought of it. Huh?
Yeah. Well, yes, I am smart.
I'm going to cut off my own hand.
So, yeah, I'm going to look...
Yeah, I did think of that, didn't I?
Yeah, that's pretty gruesome. It's pretty bad.
Pretty ew.
So, yeah, when we get to the warehouse, you know, cursory investigation stuff, but I'm also going to be looking for any signs that someone was removed or, you know...
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and go around the table. I'm going to start over with Sahaya. What exactly are you... Sahaya, sorry. Sahaya, what you would have been looking for, or something that, you know, would have drawn your interest at this warehouse?
Well, I'd be interested in crates and manifests, if we could find that.
Okay.
I have a doggo here.
Oh, sorry.
in my lap. Sorry about that. And signs of, of course, if we ran into any kind of signs of struggles, movement as well. Is anybody moving anything out now, or can we find any kind of movement records?
Okay. So I'm going to say that your tests, the things that you're going to be looking into are going to deal with probably a little bit of, well, let's say you're going to be looking for records. So let's go ahead and say perception would probably work really well for that. So we'll start off with that. So I'm going to go ahead and go around a little more and see what everybody else is doing. So, Justine, what would your character be doing at this warehouse?
I would like to see if I could find any terminals or security cameras that I could access and maybe put them on a visual/audio loop, just so we can't be spotted snooping around where maybe we shouldn't be.
Okay. So you're going to basically hack the system here locally and gain access. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that tells us what your test is going to be, is comp hacking. And what about Sam? What is Sam doing?
Oh, I am reading my forensic kit, and I am doing a full analysis of this site.
Ooh.
I'm going to take a holographic image of myself investigating everything. I'm looking for specifically if I can tell how many people were involved in the firefight other than the 3, potentially 4 deceased, and specifically if they are the same type of creature that attacked us when we were in the Vega investigation office.
All right.
And if they left any traces of themselves behind.
I'm going to say that part of your test is going to be a streetwise.
Okay.
And what about for Lieutenant Rory? What are they going to be doing?
I am also going to be using my cyber eyes that dramatically improve my eyesight to I don't have a whole lot of other equipment besides that, but just probably perception, digging around, looking for any evidence or clues to something that might be happening. I don't even really know at this point what to look for, except for perhaps, again, traces of, like others have said, the robot or the automaton, and
it's almost a tracking kind
blood
of
out of like if there's still remnants of blood from the deceased, any blood that might be out of place, like if someone cut off a hand and then took that bleeding body somewhere else.
And if you find that, I do have a DNA analyzer. We can see if it's
So let's start off with perception on your character's part, but we're going to go ahead and go back around. So for Sahaya, you are the test that I gave you. I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm actually going to say it's a fairly easy test. So go ahead and give me one purple dice for that difficulty.
Okay. All right. So I have, let's see. Ooh, one. That's a failure, right? Oh no, excuse me. One threat, and 1 success, and 3 advantages.
All right. So that would be 1 success and 2 advantages.
Yes.
Right.
All right. If you want to, you can take those 2 advantages and give your ally a boost on their next test.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I'll boost what Rory's doing.
Okay. You're looking around, and these the crates here, the shipping manifests, everything is. This is definitely stuff coming down the Beanstalk.
Okay.
In some of these companies you are definitely familiar with, and you're like, okay. And a lot of it makes sense. You're like, yeah, almost every signature here. Like if the overall shipping manifests is all that one individual.
All Lawrence?
Yeah, all Lawrence. Like a lot of this stuff coming directly to this warehouse is that.
Okay.
You're also definitely finding that there are a great deal of items that were crates that contents are a little bit questionable. You're like, this isn't a great description. The weight's a little bit off on some of them, and they've all been moved out of this warehouse in the last week.
Sounds very suspicious.
So yeah, you're thinking that they were looking into this place.
Have you ever moved anything to or from this warehouse before in your duties?
Have I? No.
No. You would deal more with what's coming down. I mean, you would be up there. You wouldn't be down here working.
Okay.
Right.
So because of the boost, we'll go ahead and go to Rory.
Okay, cool. Difficulty of the check. That I'm doing.
Difficulty, you're actually looking at, because you're dealing with trying to find evidence. Do your cyber eyes give you any bonuses or negate anything?
Only I can remove one setback die caused by smoke or darkness.
Okay.
That's it.
I would say that will definitely aid in this situation. We're just going to say that this is going to be a average difficulty, so 2 purple dice.
The setback is the black
Yeah.
one, by the way. Okay.
But it makes sense because darkness and everything else with looking for tracks and trails and everything would definitely fit in this.
So, let's see. Wow, that's a lot of advantages. But, okay, so this one cancels out this one. Which gives me a failure and 4 advantage.
All right.
So I probably don't find what I'm looking for, but I might find something else. So.
Let's see.
Find a lot of blood, but we don't really know.
Yeah.
Some blood. It looks
This
like
might be paint.
people might have been shot here.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm at the first aid station, so.
You're not really finding tracks or trails or anything else with that, but you are able to point out a little bit more information-wise, and you're like, well, I don't think they'd be here. Maybe they'd be somewhere else.
Okay.
And I will go ahead and let you add 2 boost dice to the detective.
Okay.
With your advantage.
So that's 2 blue to you,
Excellent.
Sam.
I'm just going to grab
yep.
these too. All right.
But before we get to that, because that's a really good test for this scene to end on, Justine, for your character with hacking and everything else, let's go ahead and get a computer hacking with a average difficulty, so 2 purple.
All right, here we go. Okay, that's like, I don't know.
So those 2 dice should cancel each other, that I'm seeing. Yeah.
Correct. Okay. So the advantage and the threat cancel, and that leaves me with a success, but also a despair dice.
Okay.
Ooh.
Well, despair that's a threat.
That's a
isn't
threat.
it? This is a.
Yeah, it's a threat.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Despair will only pop up on the red D12s,
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
thankfully.
Oh, thank goodness.
He hasn't
Okay.
done that to us yet.
No.
Yet.
You have access to cameras inside the warehouse, but not the outside.
Okay. So I'll go ahead and put the loop on the inside cameras, like I said I was going to. As for the outside, I'll give everybody a heads up that we might need to just be a little more tiptoey.
Us? Tiptoey?
Yes, tiptoey.
All right.
We discussed this.
I was being sassy.
So,
no.
Detective Vega.
Yes.
Let's go
ultimate
ahead and get
tiptoe.
that test going, and
Okay.
you are up against a 2 difficulty, and I want to say that there is going to be 1 setback because the age of the crime scene.
Okay. And you said I'm doing a streetwise.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Streetwise. I had it. It was right here. Okay, so that's 2 yellows and 2 purple, and I get my 2 blue from Rory and a setback. It's a lot of dice.
It's a lot of dice. Doesn't
But
feel good.
I like
satisfies-
rolling a lot of dice.
I do too, yeah. Satisfies that.
Okay, so
Nice.
that's nothing, and that's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
These are 2 successes and 2 failures, so those cancel out. So I have that's
triumph.
just a triumph and a threat.
Nice.
Okay.
That seems positive.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, let's see here. So you are definitely successful, but you're also going to have the opportunity to notice an important point of what's going on. You do find a pool of blood.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of out of the way.
There it is. That's what I was looking for.
It's right here.
You think that it's possible that all the evidence is pointing you to you did likely cut off your own hand. You think that the psychology, everything else, you're like, if somebody else had done this, they would have dragged me out into the center of the room. This has been done off where, a person was trying to hide and do it. So everything is pointing to the idea that, yeah, maybe you activated yourself to come save yourself.
Well, this seems more and more likely.
Okay.
It's all up here. All up here again.
Is there...
Don't make lieutenant for the New Angeles PD by being dumb.
You don't get
You're
there
a
for nothing.
lieutenant now?
Yeah. I'm actually in line for captain.
Oh, I am so proud of you.
Thank you.
This Sam is far more encouraging.
Yeah, really. Though she hasn't been with her own daughter,
Well, I expect more from you.
obviously.
Wow.
So this, of course, brings us to the reality that your character is going to have to go up the Beanstalk.
Oh,
Yeah.
I should have clearance to do that as a police officer.
well, don't you work there? Can you give
Yeah,
us like visitors
I do.
passes?
I will do what I can. Can I get them
Yeah,
in?
let's go ahead and see if maybe you can...
I mean, you do live up there. You could just say we're visiting.
Are you going to see if you can get your people in there through coercion or negotiation? Are you going to try and negotiate your people up there and say, look, I'll do you a favor or something later on? Or are you going to be more like, hey, remember this one time? Or, come on. Come on, guys. I mean, what's your
I looked
method?
the other way.
Wow, that's a good question.
What's your better role?
What am I rolling against?
That's how I make decisions.
So
It's going to be an average difficulty on the test, and you're either going to be rolling coercion or negotiation.
Okay. Coercion.
It's in your social skills.
maybe even
block.
charm.
Oh, okay. Here, let me get over here. Okay, there's coercion. Negotiation are the same. So, eeny, meeny, miny, moe, kids. I'll do negotiation.
Okay. So trading favors.
Yeah.
All right. So what are your dice for that?
I need 2 green here.
2 green.
I got them. Yeah, thank you.
All right, and you'll need 2 purple.
Okay, got 2 purple.
Well, they're all in front of me. Sorry.
All right. I have blank. That's nothing. I have, let's see, an advantage and two successes and a threat.
All right. So the advantage and the threat cancel each other out,
All right,
giving
so
you 2 successes.
Yes.
All right. So yeah, they're like, yeah, but you're going to come with me for the next poker tournament that I got. I need somebody sitting on the other side of the table.
Not a problem. Can do.
There we go. So,
You're making friends. That's so good.
I know. I'm learning a skill. I'm good at
Yeah.
poker.
you're
I know this is difficult because this is a weird identity crisis, but maybe ease up. She's been doing real good.
Thank you. Yeah, Rory and I, we were getting along.
Yeah.
We saw each other.
Yeah. Okay.
So good.
If you say so, Rory.
See, that was unnecessary. That was unnecessary.
Was it?
It was.
Too
It
much?
was.
Okay.
It was too
Yeah,
much.
it was too much.
So that's something you
I would
think,
blame
but
the
don't
bu-
actually say.
Yeah, I would blame the bioroid, but I've met way more tactful bioroids.
You've also met Sam.
Yeah, I know way better.
So
I'm just learning how to be one. I don't even know.
So the Beanstalk. Looking at, of course, the cover of the Android book really doesn't do it justice. What the Beanstalk is in the sci-fi terms, a space elevator. So imagine a structure that is huge at its base, the size of several skyscrapers, businesses and buildings, and people coming and going at all hours. But there's this structure that starts there at the bottom and goes up, almost like a thread in comparison to the size of this building. And it ascends up through the sky beyond what you can see. Now, obviously, in this future, there is smog, there are clouds. You can't see how high this thing goes up, but it's almost going up an infinite amount. And this is the structure that you will be riding on in an elevator. A space elevator essentially takes you up through the atmosphere and out to a point where gravity is so low that objects just would detach and drift off. It's a very efficient way without using boosters to leave Earth's gravity. And this would be the station where Sahaya works. Would be what they call the midway station, but it's midway to the moon. It is almost the furthest extent on this thread. And so you're traveling on this thing. Of course, some of you probably feeling a little bit ill at the movements of this. You, of course, Sahaya would be this like, oh, whatever.
I am so there.
I feel nothing.
We knew that.
But
I meant like my bioroid body feels nothing.
Yeah.
I don't get nausea.
I knew what you meant.
Yeah.
I knew it.
But just
I'm a little, but I've done it before.
Ascending, watching things go up past you, or
Poor
descending.
clone. She's in the corner.
Barfing,
retching.
It's okay. She brought her own bag. She
These
knew
lights
it
are
was coming.
really bright.
I always bring my own bag.
And for me, when I think of this structure and what it would be like going into it, I also think of the arch at St. Louis, I think it is.
Yeah.
You know, that
Where you get in a little washing machine and it takes you up and
Yeah,
rotates
it
you.
keeps turning. Yeah.
yeah. And so, as you go up this thing, but you'd obviously be traveling at a much higher speed just to get out there. But it's still a couple hours
Oh yeah, it does
of
take
travel.
forever. Okay.
And eventually, there's that point where it goes from the dinginess and the smog of the city, and then it's nothing but clouds below you, and you're on this impossible thread length going off into space. The world seems brighter, and then as you leave the atmosphere, the world seems darker, like you are now out in space. You can see stars in the distance beyond, and you can even see, not too far away, at least in relative idea, is the moon. You're just watching now vehicles come over and attach to this giant elevator, just attach to it and then begin to descend. But up there is this large structure, the space station. And it's a whole new world to some of you. Obviously...
Not to me.
Yeah.
My face is pressed up against the window in fascination.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like a kid on the little space needle.
Try not to crack that thing.
Yeah,
with
please.
with your hard nose.
Oh, sorry.
So that, of course, leads us to the moment of what exactly are you going to be doing now?
Looking out the window as we get to the station, do I see any of like an automaton or a robot or droid or whatever?
Oh, definitely.
That seems to be similar to those that, or to the one that we encountered earlier.
You see some that would be similar.
Okay.
Obviously, what you were up against was a much heavily modified unit. But yeah, I'm going to, if y'all want to see it, I mean, on page 200, the idea of this thread coming up from the Earth. So, I mean, it's an unreal picture when you really think about it.
Very cool.
It's a really cool idea. I just noticed that dragon on the GM screen. That's really cool. Is it a dragon skeleton? Yeah, it's a skeleton.
I mean, it's the GM screen for Genesys.
It's got all. It's got.
There's the Statue of Liberty face next to.
Yeah,
like the Watchtower.
They actually have the realms of Terranoth as the fantasy setting for this system.
All right. So.
This reminds me of a space elevator in a Halo book I read.
Yeah. Yep. Essentially the same idea.
It's exactly the same.
Yeah. But so, what are your characters going to be doing? I mean, you're kind of the old hand here. You know, you disembark, you go to the station.
Like, this is probably what
that's probably what
Sahaya does a lot. Yeah.
Well, I am, for once in my life, at a
short life.
Yeah, short life, and in the memory of the life that I had, I am completely out of my element, and I have no idea what to do. And I am going to sheepishly turn to my daughter.
No! Say it isn't so.
Yes.
She needs your help.
Pardon me while I faint.
I have no idea what I'm doing, and this is your world.
Well,
so what do you?
Wow, thank you. I
suggest
we do. I will have to first stop and ponder this.
Take a moment if you need to.
I'll have to take a moment, gather myself after that shocking turn of events. Let's see. So, what is the process for loading and unloading any ships that attach? Do we
essentially things that come up the elevator? If they're not immediately detachable on themselves, tugs come out, take them, and escort them to Midway Station, which hovers nearby. It's not directly attached to the Beanstalk, but it's right there near it. I mean, it's people think just looking at it, they're like, oh, you could probably jump to it or something, but it's not quite that easy. These tugs will come, get you, take you, and you disembark.
Okay, so we should probably do that, and then we would have I'm assuming there is a cargo area that we could perhaps explore, check and see if there are any shipments. Where would I find good old Lawrence?
Lawrence does have his own office that you could check for, but a lot of times he can be found just about anywhere on the station. He'll be walking around. There's a certain amount of luxury to this. Obviously, they're the workers. They're the people. I mean, I like to think of it as a cruise ship. You have twice as many people working this location than actually visiting this location. Mm-hmm. And so there are workers everywhere doing a great many tasks of various sizes. But at the same time, there are the people there that are there to take in the fascination and the amazing experience that it is altogether. And so as a high-level executive, he'll be out there so often, rubbing elbows with the rich and powerful, but then turning around and actually doing work on the station and overseeing everything that's happening as one of the executive officers.
Mm-hmm. I think that we should probably try to find where any cargo is being offloaded and see if we can find any suspicious crates that might...
Maybe check out his office.
Check out his office would be my second thought.
I mean, are we looking for people-sized crates? Lots of people-sized crates? Like, crate size for lots of people?
It's possible.
I'm thinking that depending on what we saw, that for those mismatched weight-off things that I probably mentioned that we saw in the warehouse, that we're looking for those anomalies.
Okay.
Yeah. So, arriving at the station, you end up on what's called their transfer concourse. And then if you were going to go to his office, you'd be going to the operations center. And there's, of course, the standard sci-fi feeling at this point. You are far removed from what would be the cyberpunk feel of this world.
Right.
Do the doors make the Star Trek whooshy noise as we?
A little bit.
Yeah.
In fact, you think they're piping it in like there's speakers above the door to make sure it makes that sound every time.
Nice.
Excellent.
Nice.
You know, for effect.
Yeah.
Our doors don't do that. We still have handles.
Yeah. This is true. I mean, you like to touch something sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
Yes.
So going into the operations center, what would are y'all just going to go try and see if you can get into his office without being detected, or what are we going to be doing?
Yeah, I was like, I almost Rory considered making a crack about Jaxine, you know, seeing if we could get an appointment.
I was about to suggest, could I potentially hack into his personal assistant's data, computer files, schedules,
Yeah, I mean,
and find a time where he won't be in his office?
Oh, and maybe schedule an appointment for him to be somewhere else so that we can guarantee he's not in his office.
I could potentially reschedule his late dinner meeting or something like that, maybe.
I mean, time works different up here. I mean, it's all dark. It's not like on the planet.
So with that happening, I'm just going to go ahead and ask a leading question, pardon me, but is anybody going to provide some distraction while you're doing this?
Well, I mean, one of my questions was who's around and what's going on.
So when you arrive...
Is this a busy area or... Yeah.
When you arrive at the operations station, the center here, it is this large spherical chamber because obviously gravity works differently and people can take advantage of that here. So imagine a large spherical room with workstations and people tethered to them. But at the same time, there are offices and other things coming off of this. But so there are terminals and places that you can just get right to. Your character would have no, for your character I mean Sahaya would have no problem just going up to one of these terminals without people asking too many questions, but other people, it might be a little bit obvious.
Okay. Well, I can go up and you can help me see if we can hack into something, Justine.
Yeah.
Jaxine, I'm sorry.
Close enough.
It's a J thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll give that a try. I don't know, maybe they could create a distraction of some sort, or...
Okay. So is anybody going to make a distraction, or...
I'm sure I can. What do I have here?
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
Pretty much anything. I mean, honestly, you could just walk into it and just be loudly
that's probably what I
exclaiming.
did. Yeah, with my badge. What? I got the Officer McKiernan from New APD. I need to speak with perhaps your security detail here. Somebody.
My purse was stolen.
Her purse was stolen.
Someone stole my purse.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and I think we need to get, I think that's deception.
What?
Yeah.
From both of us?
Especially since I'm carrying my forensic
Deception, would
bag.
you like to actually assist? Since that, I believe, adds.
Yeah. If I assist, you get a blue die.
Oh, excellent. Deception
There we go.
is under the social skills, and I see that I get 2 green die for it and a blue die.
And then difficulty?
Difficulty is going to be, I'm going to say, fairly easy because you're not supposed to be here.
Right. I look like a tourist.
Yeah. So just
Sort of.
1 dice.
Okay.
One.
Excellent. One
purple,
die.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So I got you. Okay. Well, I have a success and a threat. Well, the threat and advantage cancel each other out, and this one says Blake, so I have 1 success.
Nice.
All right. They have opened up a window of opportunity, and security is going to be coming over to talk to them. And people are just looking over at them and are like, oh, God, tourists. So, This is your
It
opportunity
had
to go ahead.
pictures of my grandchildren. Yeah.
The ones that don't exist.
Yes.
The one that you
yes,
wish
those
you
ones.
had.
They can totally tell that you're a bio.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's like, what in the world is this Bioroid's damage?
Okay, we'll go over to a terminal, and I will, log into it or whatever, and then hand it over to Jaxine.
Don't try to gloss over it.
But look like I'm
That
typing.
you don't believe there are pictures of the purse. Pictures of it doesn't matter. The purse was stolen.
All right.
just
So,
coming over out of pure
Jaxine,
curiosity.
you are going to need to go ahead and make that test.
Did you call her Jackson again?
Jaxine?
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Food will keep him there.
Oh, no joke on him.
We're leaving this part in, right?
I don't know. It's like, what do I do? I might make that little record scratching sound, and because I all this is going to have like soundtrack and everything else. It's like the cat interrupted my story.
The cat and the dog. Don't forget to give credit where credit's due. Yeah.
Now that's a good distraction, though. Cats and dogs.
I know. Like, those are the best distractions. I am so happy with the amount of dogs that I have pet today.
Oh, yeah.
You never have enough dogs.
No.
My dogs are going to love it when I get home.
Oh.
They're not going to leave me alone.
It's like, you don't smell like us. We got to fix that.
Yes.
I'm going to rub all over you.
Dude, come in here and leave the kitty alone. Heathcliff, come here.
He's a very sweet boy. So what breeds are he? Is he altogether?
He is a Catan de Tulier.
Oh.
Cousin of the Poodles, Bichons, Maltese,
Nice.
Maltipoos.
Ah, Neo.
Lone
Dork.
I thought I'd put away everything that he would try to go
Should we
for.
have covered that hummus?
I did. I put it away. Yeah.
What hummus? It's gone now.
Yeah.
No,
Even
I-
the package that we didn't
I-
open. It's
I
open now.
thought the carrots would not be interesting to him. I was wrong.
I had a dog that loved carrots.
Yeah. I just didn't think that Saul, this meat-eating predator.
What are you talking about?
Yeah,
Meat eating.
he's like food. All right. Sorry about that, guys.
That's good.
All right, so you need to go ahead and make a hacking test, and you're going to be, I think you're going to be trying to. I'm going to say that at this point, what you're doing isn't really going to affect ice. You're not. There's nothing that you're really trying to do. You're trying to just add information, really, change a little.
I'm basically editing someone's digital daybook.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to say that this is going to be a base of 2 difficulty.
Okay.
And that takes into effect, of course, if people are paying attention or if you're able to find a way to edit it. So,
Okay. Ooh, okay, let's see. We've got... Alright, the success and the failure cancel out. And then I have another success, 2 advantage, and 1 threat.
all right. So the 1 threat is canceled out by 1 of the advantage. So you're looking at 1 success, 1 advantage.
Right.
Nice.
All right. And so you are successful. Was there some place in particular you were going to try and send him to with the with the change in his itinerary?
Far away.
Were you going to try and send him far, far away, or send him someplace specific that you could try and get him later?
I'd like to send him to perhaps a business meeting, but at one of the more crowded restaurants. Say it's just been relocated, there's a last minute schedule change. If he has a good assistant, she'll
Okay.
ping him and send him along.
There is a within the station. There's an
Not
orbital,
passive aggressive
Little
at all.
dig there.
yeah. There's an orbital luxury hotel and resort, and so that would probably be the one that you'd end up sending him to.
There's Casino Grande.
Yeah.
Casino
And I'm going to put a little footnote in there that this is insert name of big company man name coming to visit at the resort.
Yeah. You'll probably be at the trying to see which one. We'll just go with the Vista Hotel rather than Casino
That's
Grande. All right. And you are going to have a chance later to access his office when he's away. At this point, though, both of you are escorted out.
Okay.
Oh dear.
They will pretty much say, you're in the wrong place. We will take a record of what you're saying, and we will get in contact with you.
So do Sahaya and I just turn around and be like, where are you?
Pretty much.
Well, I have
you
this,
have a comlink, right?
As I say, I have this handy dandy communicator that I can.
Yeah, and I think Jaxine has one as well.
Okay.
So you guys would be, they're largely untraceable because they're kind of connected to each other.
Yeah. So I'm just kind of like, yes, I would like to make a statement, and I would like to press charges.
Yes. So this is the wrong place.
So I'm kind of gonna whisper in my comlink that we're gonna go make a statement. We'll catch up with you on the promenade.
All right. I'll turn to Sahaya and just be like, they're a little preoccupied. We'll meet them at the promenade.
We're gonna split the party because that seems like the best thing to do.
Oh, yeah. Well, for the most part, they're going to look into. They're like, it's going to take us a while. We're going to have to go through security footage, see if we can find the bag, see if we can find who took the bag. We'll let you know as soon as we can. But for the most part, they're almost. It's one of those things where there's probably enough stuff going on here that they're.
It's going to be a low priority item. So I'm going to pretend to be completely satisfied with that.
All right.
And move along.
Completely satisfied.
And maybe make our way back to, depending on where they are.
Yeah, if we can ping them and find out where they are.
Yeah, head back that direction. You know what? That went really quickly. What are you doing right now?
Heading to the promenade.
Oh, you've already searched the office? Oh, no, we're going to do that later.
Yeah, we're going to do that later.
Yeah, I did tell you that. Yeah, so, promenade, yes.
Yeah, we need to check that cargo area, too.
Oh.
Then cargo instead of promenade.
That sounds like a good idea.
I would also like to get a cup of coffee because this cyborg has been awake a long time.
I'm going to get a cup as well, forgetting that when we were in the office, I attempted to drink the coffee that you brought me, and I don't really have the parts for that, so it just kind of leaked out on the floor. But I'm going to try it again anyway.
Sizzle, sizzle.
I forgot, okay?
Should we be concerned about the leaking part? Like, do we need to get that looked at?
Yeah, bioroids usually don't leak.
Yeah.
But
do I have a container that so that I can pretend to eat? Okay, well then that happened.
Okay, then that's what we did.
Never mind, I didn't leak.
I mean, if you did, we could just be like, well, you just weren't properly maintained while you were in the crate.
Okay. Clearly I wasn't, because I woke up in a warehouse.
Yeah,
an unmanned warehouse.
Covered in a plastic sheet with dust.
Jaxine, can you remind me to make an appointment with the manager of the warehouse later?
I'm already writing it in my book.
Oh, thank you.
My data pad, not book. We're in the future.
I don't know, you seem very tactile. You're a very tactile, analog kind of clone.
I just kind of see her tilt her head. Noted.
Just the cold, dead stare of a personal assistant.
Whose soul has been sucked out a long time ago.
Yeah. It was never there to begin with.
Yeah, with the first bullet hole in the wall. No.
Yeah. That was it.
Okay.
That's where we lost her.
So if we go to the warehouse, do we find anything? Looking around, mismatches, anomalies.
So looking into records or anything, you have the names of the items that you saw in the warehouse. If you wanted to, you could go at it from that direction.
Okay.
Which, typing it in, looking it up, for all those, you're pretty sure that, they're all kept in a certain bay. Okay. And it's usually one that's private company held. It's not one that you usually go in. You've been in there a few times to move stuff around, but you're like, wow, that's almost perfect. what are your characters going to do? Are you going to try and go there immediately, or?
Well, I could probably get in. I can go in, and you guys can do something else.
Well, and honestly, in the event that Sam might be facing being trafficked or taken somewhere, I feel like time is of the essence. So, because it's potentially been at least 24 hours, if not longer, that since the hand was. When did Carolina indicate that the hand was found?
She wasn't. The indication was that it was a few days.
Okay.
But
So I mean, we're already looking at multiple days out from when they could have been taken. So I think we really need to be as hasty as possible and look for any information that we can find. I mean, his office would be super easy, but we can't go there yet, right?
Not yet.
Okay.
So then I can go into this warehouse or the bay and check and see if there's anything still hanging around, anything anomalous hanging out there.
So is everybody going to the warehouse?
It's probably best for just me to do it since I've already been there.
I'm gonna kind of stand outside and keep watch.
Yeah, definitely watch.
If you can set up your pad to give if you can submit even video data as you go through, I can project that onto my eyes from my pad.
Okay.
So if you can transmit some sort of video link up or something,
can we do that?
Yeah,
should be able to.
All right, we can do that.
Would it be strange at all for Sahaya to access any shipment logs from any device that might be in the Bay Area?
Have I done it before?
Yeah, I mean, that's not impossible, and that's pretty much how you found this specific bay.
All right, I'll do that then.
All right. You begin making your way through all the different areas that essentially all the containers are kept, all the business is done, and I know y'all can probably hear that. That's part of the audio equipment. So you're making your way, and it starts off being very busy. A lot of workers around, some automatons, some automated service, things going on. The further further along you go, the closer you get to this location, the less and less people you are seeing, until you're like a bay or two away, and there's nobody here. And you arrive at the doors to this bay, and they are sealed.
Then there's no way for me to get in?
You could try using your access.
And your toolkit and stuff.
Okay. Yeah. If I use my access card, I assume, then that's on record of me getting in there. Which means that I should probably have a pretty darn good reason for it. Oh, just searching for my mother, who might have been trafficked.
That's a really good reason.
I also think you have, I don't know if it would matter, but you do have a talent called Deep Pockets.
Okay.
And it's where you could potentially just have something in your pocket or in a bag that could be narratively useful.
Oh, okay.
At GM's discretion, but I mean, it could be something that,
especially with it being our final episode, likely.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so you might be able to kind of produce something,
Okay. Well, I could see. What do I have to do to access Deep Pockets?
All essentially that is that you reach into your pocket, and in this case, you pull out a general station key.
Oh,
that one of your managers had handed to you to access something while they were away, and they're just like, "Hey, use this, and it'll get you in."
Sweet.
You had forgotten to give it back to them.
Yep. Gosh, golly,
there the whole time.
Go figure. Well, I'll use that. I won't use my personal one.
There you go. The doors open, and it's a very large bay. At least 100 yards across. Imagine.
Woo.
And
lots of people,
crates and other things just piled up and everywhere, and you can hear voices in the distance.
Okay, I shall sneak around and attempt not to get caught, but listen.
Let's go ahead and say for this first test, it'll be a stealth, and we're going to say easy for this first test.
Okay, so one purple?
One purple.
2 greens and a purple. Oopsie. Okay, I got a double X.
Yep.
So that's 2 failures.
2 failures. And that, I assume, is canceled out 2 successes or advantages. So that leaves me with 1 advantage.
Yeah.
Actually, the failures would only cancel out successes, so you actually have 3 advantages and just 2 failures.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So,
as you're moving through, you hear, because of the advantages, I'm going to say you do hear somebody say, "Hey, I think I heard the door open." And somebody's going to be coming that way.
Okay.
And so you failed being stealthy coming in, but you do hear them coming before they see you.
Okay.
What's your reaction going to be?
I'm going to hide. I want to continue to see if I can find out what they might be talking about. So I'm going to attempt to hide behind crates.
All right. And, of course, all this you're seeing.
yeah, if I see that, I might be like, Jaxine, can you attempt to hack their security system here and see if you can perhaps signal an alert in another part of that bay?
Yeah, I can give that a go.
So what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to give you a boost. While you're hiding, her actions are going to be helping you. So it's going to be, at this point, it's still going to be 1 dice that you're up against, 1 difficulty, and with your standard skill, and then you get a boost from her. This is
So
essentially an assist.
a stealth skill, right?
Stealth again?
Yeah.
Okay, stealth and 1 purple and 1 blue.
Yes.
Okay. Alright, so I have a success and a threat and an advantage and a success and advantage.
All right, so 2
Nice.
successes and an advantage.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. You wedge your way in between 2 crates, and you hear them come over, and they're like, well, log doesn't show anything specific. It just shows that the door opened. I don't see anyone around, don't hear anything. It's probably just a glitch. Go ahead and close her up, and let's go. And 2 guards, one of them closes the door, and they both wander on back.
But now you're in the warehouse by yourself and the door is closed and we can't get in.
But that doesn't mean I can't open it from the
true.
inside.
Yeah.
Yep, you still got that key.
Yep.
Are you going to try and get closer?
I'm going to try to get closer.
All right, so now it's going to be the same test, and I will let her boost still apply,
Okay.
but you're going to be up against 2 purple dice, 2 difficulty as you're getting closer.
Okay. Okay, threat and a failure threat, and that's nothing, and four advantages and a threat and a threat failure.
Okay, so failure, and it looks like 3 advantages? Or 2 advantages.
2 advantages.
I'm confused.
That's it gets a little weird.
Gets a little weird. Essentially, you're not going to be able to get any closer. You're like trying to be stealthy, getting closer into the warehouse, but the patrols are too tight. There are no openings, so at least you're not getting caught, but you're essentially stuck.
Okay.
So at this point, I open it up to the table. You have an individual there with their data pad. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else y'all are going to be trying to do?
Could I perhaps give her more assistance and give her like an opening by maybe shutting down some lights in a certain area to get people to be like, hey,
Or are there is there any machinery in that area that maybe
Okay.
you could trigger from a hack?
Let's go ahead and do a comp hacking, and you're up against... this is an area they're trying to keep secure, especially with cameras and other things. You're up against 3.
Ooh.
3 ice, or are you talking about 3 difficulty?
3 difficulty.
Okay.
Is there ice that she's dealing with?
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay. Because she's got a really good code gate
That
breaker,
yet
too.
word again.
I know, yeah. It's coming. And just a heads up, it is 10:30.
Okay, that one is blank, and... Ooh, okay. We have 4 successes.
Wow.
2 advantages, and then a failure and a threat.
So it'd be 3 successes, 2 advantages.
Correct.
All right. You're able to definitely give them an opening to get closer in.
Okay, I'll do it.
And what you see as you get closer in is that this has been converted into what looks like a medical bay.
Ooh, not cool. I'll just get get the pad out and show everybody.
And
I'd be relaying that.
yeah, this is everything that you expect it to be. You see people on gurneys being moved around. You see high-end medical equipment. You have stumbled onto something huge.
I was just say, is this people trafficking or is this like organ trafficking? Like,
it looks like you don't think.
oh well, I guess they're wiping memories
Yeah.
and stuff, so that could be a medical procedure.
But you see at least 20 people who are on gurneys sedated. And I will even go as far as to say with your boosts that you've gotten in all this, that you do see Sam. That Sam is...
Oh, crap.
What?
You're in there.
Yeah.
Not you, but other.
Right. Well, Sam.
you know.
Yeah.
Don't you hate it when that happens?
My
So-
doppelganger is...
Well, but
To
You're the doppelganger.
go ahead and...
Mom?
To go ahead and set the scene up, because obviously we are getting on to the end of this episode, and this may be the last time that we play these characters, but I always say that with May because I want to go ahead and qualify this. One of the things I do with my listeners for this podcast is that patrons for our Patreon will have the option of choosing one show to get a continuation. So if they choose this show, you might be invited back to continue this and see what happens as a exclusive.
Yeah.
But
So-
that's a big if.
Yeah.
So
tell your friends.
Yeah, tell your friends. But
With
here's
deep pockets.
Here's the thing that I'm going to raise, though, as the question that I always do with one of these shows is, what is it that in this situation with what's going on, what is it that your character would want to get out of it? So I'm going to go around the table. What is it that you think your character would want to get out of it? Because at this point, you have proof of human trafficking. Would you want to go in there guns blazing? Would you want to take this back and turn it over? How would you like this narrative to end? I'm going to go ahead and start with Deborah.
Oh, well, as the daughter of the potentially trafficked person, I should want her back, and I do. But I think that we ought to look a little bigger and take it and see if we can find out where they're being trafficked, and if we can get her out without giving ourselves away too much, so that we couldn't take it down the whole operation.
Okay. What about Jaxine? What do you think she would want out of this?
I think ultimately Jaxine wants her boss back, as great as new Sam has been. She's a creature of habit and routine and would like her old boss back, and then also just kind of taking a guess at what both Sams probably want out of this to kind of see this investigation through. So a stealthy rescue and then, bring down the man and all that.
Yeah. I would kind of ask on this note, and this is one of the gray areas of this game. I do want to say, always remember, Cyberpunk is about oppression and horrible systems and trying to overcome them. Obviously, your character is a clone, and your character would experience this sort of thing from your own angle as well. So I think that might play into this a little bit. Is there anything that you think your character would also be thinking on that end?
I think it definitely does compel her, but she also realizes that she's with a couple people that I think are also kind of like-minded in that they want to get these people, at the very least, get these people to safety and not solely just Sam.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What about new Sam?
Oh, new Sam is very conflicted right now. She doesn't want to replace Sam.
Yeah.
So definitely the goal is to get Sam out. And she does have the same ideals as Sam, which is, the moral ethic that everyone should be treated fairly, regardless of human, cyborg, Gmod, clone, it doesn't matter. And so the sight of all of this injustice just really has her oil boiling, I guess.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, she's watching the interactions with the other characters too, and thinking, about her place and all of that. And there's more on that later, but definitely, stopping this operation is a very high priority, whether that's going in guns blazing. But it's best to discuss that and come up with a plan together as a group instead of decide things on our own.
Okay.
Yay, new Sam.
Yeah.
So how about Lieutenant Rory McKiernan?
Seeing that my flaw is a little bit of recklessness. Seeing that this is a massive criminal endeavor. She's probably a hair's breadth away from calling a strike team. And just because she's like, this is great and all, ladies, but we need more than what we've got here to deal with this.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of seems that way.
Wants to nip it fast and is like, if she can bust this, it's also good kind of for her career, but it needs to stop. And wants her friend back too. But yeah, she'd already be dialing however comms work, and that I'd be sending messages immediately and probably transmitting some video.
I was going to say, does this data pad record? Okay, excellent.
Yeah. So I'm going to say I'm probably transmitting video and explaining where I am, why we're here, and getting some sort of strike team or SWAT or something.
Okay. So narratively, to wrap up the scene.
Sure.
So based on what your characters are wanting in this, I'm going to say that you pause a moment and you're like, let's get as much dirt as we can, and you manage to go to the you probably as far as Sahaya is concerned, you probably are stuck in the warehouse for the moment in the bay, but you're also like, okay, at least this lets me oversee what's going on, so I can tell you if something changes.
Just keep recording.
I am.
But you manage to go, for the rest of you, to the office and begin looking through records or anything else, and with Sahaya's excellent skills in hacking, you find as much as you can, as much evidence. Most everything implicates them. And some of it is like, well, some of these are shell corporations, but there's enough evidence that something big is happening, and at least there's a paper trail.
I was going to say, if we had anything linking Larry Yates, I mean, if he is the chief op of this station or this area, but if we had anything linking him to what was being recorded, I could probably have a warrant to go to his office pretty quickly.
It would take time, but the thing is that it would also likely be coming up. Over the course of a couple hours, a strike team is coming.
Okay.
And they arrive with very little fanfare. They come on a private shipment so that they do not have to use a tug. The doors open up and they swarm in. They know exactly where to go, and they bypass people. There's enough people to do crowd control and essentially go through the doors you're waiting for them, and you for Sahaya, you're waiting, and you open the doors for them. They don't even have to worry about breaking in or anything, and it is a quick operation.
It's a sting.
Yeah.
Yay, rah.
Many people are rescued, but at the same time, something obviously the original Sam is rescued, but there's something else that comes out of that, and this is corporate red tape and a lot of other issues, such as these are war criminals as far as many of the corporations are concerned. Can they just be released? Who are they? Where are they? What is going on? Your characters end up essentially, Lieutenant, you're put on leave briefly because there's just too much going on. And you might all end up in hiding for a little bit just because of press and at the same time corporate red tape, people trying to sue you.
Corruption.
Yeah. And I think that is probably a good point to end it on, is that you've saved him, but you've also begun to crack open...
Saved her.
Yeah, saved her. Sorry, saved Sam. And you've begun to crack open a much larger case, which, if this show continues, we can come back and touch on again. But I think that's a good point for us to end on tonight. I really hope that everybody enjoyed this brief look into the Genesys system and Shadow of the Beanstalk for the Android game. For all of you out there, Android is a huge universe. There are card games and board games galore for it.
Yeah, but they're all discontinued now as far as like active running properties. But this is a nice, for the people that they're players that like RPGs, this is a nice little delving into the world. Yep.
And so, I think this is a great place to conclude our Cyberpunk series for this one. So I really want to say thank you all to my players tonight. It is always an absolute joy to get to run a different style game, and honestly, a table with all women is so much different than a table with a bunch of guys. I'm going to be honest with you. And I appreciate that, and I love it. So thank you all for the opportunity to run this game.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for putting it together, John, and Roxy for the crash course and the Genesys system. It's been never played it before, but I've enjoyed it.
I've enjoyed it. It's
very easy to learn.
It is very easy to learn, and I think like I said, I just think it's got a lot of utility across the across the board. But before we go, why don't we real quick tell people where we can find you guys online? If you've got social medias that you want to share or anything, any projects you're working on. I know Deborah's got the game. Justine is an artist. I don't know if you want to share something, Laura, or if you just want to hype the store.
Of course, you can find me at Space Cadets Gaming on Robinson Road in Oak Ridge, North Texas. Yep. I am an avid knitter. Nice. And I'm on Facebook, but I don't really post anything. I really just like to read what other people post.
There you go. Yeah.
So, fair enough.
It stays out of trouble that way.
Yes. So much.
Deborah, again, with Everyverse, we absolutely love your game, and we're so happy to have the opportunity to game with you again. We've gotten to play with you where you got to run a game.
Yes.
And I think oftentimes working in the gaming industry, it's always fun to actually get to play something rather than just running it.
That's true. I haven't played anything other than an Everyverse scenario of some sort in forever. And I'm a relatively new game master with the Everyverse stuff too. I never thought that I'd be doing that. I've kind of always figured that my late husband would do it, or my friend Jim. And Jim did come to Gen Con with his oldest son, and they helped me run games. But I was pretty excited with the whole running games at Gen Con thing.
Yeah.
It
was my first time too.
Yeah, I know. I did like
nerve-wracking.
It was, and to think that people had to pay even just $3 to games, like, I want to make sure this is good.
Yeah. And just that people paid to play your game.
I know.
That's like pretty cool.
And we got a special deal. It was one Sunday night, the con coordinator for IGDN, Pete Petrusia, came on, and he sent out a specific email to several of us, and he said, Gen Con has decided to focus on some of our games this year. And so you guys have been picked. Give us a 75 word summary of what your game is about, and you're going to be on the website so people can actually specifically come and play your game. It's like, can you do it in like less than 24 hours? You darn right I can.
Awesome.
That's so cool.
And so I was really glad we actually did. We were supposed to have 3 demos, and we actually did 4. And so I was really glad that we had, especially since Jim and his son were driving in from Baltimore and so on. But yeah, you can find us. We're on Facebook at Everyverse RPG, online at www.pardonusgaming.com, and we'd really love to have folks try our game.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
And Justine, you got anything you want to talk about? Or
Yeah. Well, like John mentioned, I'm an artist, and you can find me on Twitter at, I have to pull it up because it's a dumb way of trying to spell Miss Scribbles. It's MSCRIBBLZ. And again, that's on Twitter. I've done a little bit of dabbling into video game art for a recent indie game called Court of Ashes. And I'm also going to be doing some headshots for some games happening in 2020 for Roxy and John.
yeah, in fact, by the time this
And you'll be
episode
on that
releases, we will have started up, and that is Growing Shadows, which is our
Ninja Crusade.
that we've got direct ties in with Third Eye Games. So thank y'all for that as well.
Yeah, so keep an eye out for all of this. This will probably, which those of you that are listening know what time of year it is, but just for our players, probably January
Okay.
or February, these will start getting released.
Oh, perfect.
But yeah, and this is Seriously Let's Play from Passion Nerdly. It's a co-op between Passion Nerdly and Nerds Domain, so check us out.
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll see y'all around.
All right, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
And that will do it for us tonight on Seriously Let's Play.